Yeah, we can scoot back down. There's more room.
Yep, that's right.
I'm not used to doing that. So welcome to the August regular meeting of the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation Commission. We're glad you're here. We'll call the meeting to order. And first thing, I guess, would be the roll call by Rhonda.
Commissioner Brewster.
Here.
Commissioner Barwick.
Here.
Commissioner Mabry.
Here.
Commissioner Holder, absent. Commissioner Zelps, absent. Commissioner Dillingham.
Here.
Commissioner Kane.
Here.
Commissioner Gaddis.
Here. Would you all please stand for the invocation by Ken Cunningham, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father God, we come to you. Father, just
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have some guests to introduce. JD?
Yes, we do. We have Tyler Talley from eCapital, Rick Grunman, the director of the Wildlife Foundation, Andy Gresham, who is on the agenda for a little bit later. Of course, Laura McIver, the state director of Quail Forever. Perfect attendance almost so far. And then I want to make a special introduction. Bobby and Braden Tennell are back there. Stand up if you would. So Braden here is the 2021 Scholastic Shooting Sports Junior Male State Champion high shooter in our Scholastic Shooting Sports competition this past year. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. I know his dad, Bobby, brought him up right. Clayton knows him well, said he's a big trapper and all kinds of stuff too. So thank you for raising your son the right way.
Exactly. Yes. Congratulations, Braden.
It's all the introductions.
I would also like to introduce and welcome our newest commissioner, Jess Kane from District 1. Okay.
You can go up there? Yeah.
So I'd like to take a minute to, on behalf of this commission, to recognize and honor our most recent outgoing chairman, Commissioner Mabry, for his, this is for his, of course, his dedicated, his dedicated service to department, to this commission, to the state of Oklahoma, and our fishermen and our sportsmen and women. Commissioner Mabry, this plaque is a pretty small token, but it represents a big thank you, not only for your service, but your outstanding leadership and a job well done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank
Appreciate you. Oh, over here?
Get you a picture right
there in front of that wall. No.
Or do you want it in front of the whole commission, or? Okay. All right. Do you want me in? Sure. Next on the agenda, you'll notice that we have quite a few employee recognitions to go through today. For those that have forgotten, we usually wait until an employee's at least reached that 20-year milestone before we invite them to come in and be recognized before the commission. We often have a lot of folks decline just because they don't like Oklahoma City too much. But those that are here today were at least willing to brave the trip into Oklahoma City city limits and join us today, and we appreciate that. I think it was Wade Free that pointed out to me last week, if you add up those years of experience that we're recognizing today on the agenda, you'll note there's 150 years of department experience that's represented right there in those milestones. So that's a pretty significant thing, I would say, and so to all of you, thank you for your invaluable service to the sportsmen and sportswomen of the state of Oklahoma and all that you do to protect and manage our invaluable fish and wildlife species. So we're going to start out with Tony Crawford, who's the wildlife technician in the Northeast region, started in 2001.
Sorry, apologies.
Tony's not here.
Russ is checking, he was supposed to be here.
I'm going to skip Tony Crawford and go to Thad Potts. I saw Thad, so I know he's here. There he is. All right, our wildlife biologist in the Northwest region. He was hired as a wildlife tech at Hackberry Flat, transferred to technician at Canton, Drummond Flats, Dewey, and Major County WMAs in the mid-2000s, promoted to biologist at the same areas in 2012, also took on Sandhills WMA, our newest one, or newer one in 2020, newest one, yeah. He's an unbelievable wildlife management area manager, has a lot of acres under his care. I'm not even sure how he does it, actually. So keeps the resource in the area users as a priority when he's making area decisions, and he's a leader in accomplishing habitat management efforts in our western Oklahoma WMAs. So congratulations, Thad, for 20 years of service. Declining to speak, I don't blame you.
Thank you, Thad.
Wish I could do that. Next, we have another 20-year recognition for James Edward Jr., Warden Supervisor out in District 7. He was hired on again in July 2001, promoted to Lieutenant of Caddo County in District 6 in 2010, transferred to District 7, Lieutenant in Ellis County in 2016, transferred to Beckham County in 2017. This guy exemplifies the definition of a hardworking game warden. He takes care of and answers a lot of constituent phone calls, especially when deer are hammering somebody's crop circles out there. Problems, questions, concerns, and I would say is top-notch, bar none, when it comes to investigation work and dotting those I's and crossing the T's. If you've done something wrong and Junior's on your case, you better look out, because it's going to happen. So thank you, Junior, for all your awesome service.
I'd just like to say I appreciate the job that I have and that I get to do for wildlife in Oklahoma. My dad was a 30-year game warden. I followed in his footsteps, and now I've been doing it for 20 years. When I first walked into this facility 20 years and 1 month ago, somebody, I don't remember who it was, said, one of these days you'll look up and you'll be one of the old guys, and here I am. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're not quite old enough yet. Wait till you get bald and gray. Next, we have David Rutledge. He is started in 1986 as a fish technician in the Southeast region, transferred to the South Central region in 2007. David has already announced his plans to retire at the end of November of this year, I was telling him before the meeting, I actually got a text from Blake Shelton the other day. Did you know David's retiring? I'm like, how did you know David's retiring? So apparently he has a big impact in his region as well. But no doubt, David leaves a legacy of hard work and dedication to the agency. He's been a role model for many that have worked with him over the years. Numerous interns and several current department employees have benefited from David's mentorship over the years. He's passionate about passing on his knowledge and skills. His next chapter, which I want to talk to you more about, involves brewing beer, another area where he's highly skilled, at the Lost Street Brewery. I'm a bit of a beer fanatic and snob myself. So he'll be brewing beer at the Lost Street Brewery in Durant, doing his part-time while continuing to travel and enjoy the outdoors with his wonderful family, Barbara, Rachel, and Sarah. So, David, we thank you for your 35 years of service to the state. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Wildlife Department for hiring me 35 years ago. Well, actually, it was 36, because I had a 1 year, it was temporary. So I did that for a year, then it finally, remember Commissioner Pennington, he was the commissioner back then, and he was very instrumental on making my job permanent. And so I really appreciate the commission for making that job permanent 35 years ago. And it's just been a great career. It's been a great opportunity to provide for my family. And I want to thank Cliff and Matt. They're great to work for. I think we have a really good team, and going to miss them. And like I said, I've kind of been really lucky in my life and to get this job, and then this opportunity's come up for me to work at the brewery in Durant. It's just a passion of mine, and really look forward to moving up to another part of my life. But thank you very much for everything, and it's been a great career.
Thank you.
Another 35-year recognition, Keith Thomas, who's a fish biologist at the Fisheries Research Lab down in Norman. He also was hired on July of '86 as a fish technician in the Northeast Regional Office, and then transferred from that East Central region to the Fisheries Research Lab in 1990, promoted to fish biologist in summer of 2008. He's currently the Oklahoma City region manager and close to home fishing program coordinator of one of our big popular programs. He assists David Combs and Mark Ambler with paddlefish population estimates on Keystone Reservoir and Grand Lake. I've got a list of things Keith has done or is doing, and it's long. Assisting Hutchie Weeks and Gary Peterson with the Rainbow Trout Program in the Lower Illinois. Traveling to San Marcos National Fish Hatchery to haul Florida largemouth hybrids or Florida largemouth bass fingerlings back to Durant Hatchery with Jim Thomas. Statewide Canada Goose Roundups with John T. Aldrich, Alan Stacy, and James Dorr. I'm doing a lot of name dropping, and people that have been here a while will recognize them. So, working the ODWC building with Bill Sherman during the Muskogee State Fair. Sauger broodstock collection, Arkansas River to produce saugeye. Project Wild Activities with Luann Waters and Lisa Anderson. Worked with Gene Gilliland on various research projects statewide on Florida bass genetics, on and on and on. He's been a constant at the Wildlife Expo since the very beginning. Assisted with hundreds of aquatic ed events statewide, recruited several interns who were later hired on full-time with the department, and has just worked with numerous people within the agency to make it a better place for fishing in the state of Oklahoma. So Keith, we thank you for your 35 years of service. Mike is yours.
It's been a fun run, and I'm not done yet, but I've really had a great time these 35 years. And the folks that JD mentioned while I was starting with the department at the Northeast office and the lab, but all those folks really made a big impression on me, and confirmed that, you know, this is what I wanted to do right out of, well, high school. But I knew it was the right choice, and coming to Oklahoma from Michigan, everything just felt right, and those folks made me feel right at home. Some of those guys, like James Dorr, waterfowl tech, he was like grandfather I never had, and showed me the ropes and just around the office and fixing things and just doing all kinds of stuff. But then several of those guys, Bill Sherman, James, you know, they'd invite me to go hunting with them on trips to Nebraska or, you know, duck hunts, stuff like that, and I really enjoyed those, and those are really good memories with those guys. Hutchie Weeks, who hired me, the East Central regional biologist or supervisor, I owe a lot to him. I still try to talk to him. He still lives up there at Hudson Lake, but he really took me in and made me feel at home. Being a young kid right out of college and you know, being new to Oklahoma, but he made me feel welcome. So, and you know, this award or this recognition pin is, you know, kind of humbling or embarrassing almost, because I've never felt that this is about me. It's just about taking care of the resources of the state and working for the sportsmen and trying to bring on new sportsmen. That's why I really enjoy the Close to Home fishing program, because working with kids and families to get them hooked on fishing, that's what I really strive to do. And we're doing some creel surveys right now at a couple of the ponds, Close to Home ponds, one in Moore and one in Norman. And when I see a kid or some kids riding their bikes to those ponds and having a blast fishing, you know, we'll go down and interview them, but see what they're catching, what they're fishing for. But that reminds me of myself when I was a kid, riding bikes to ponds, neighborhood ponds that were open to fishing, and it brings back memories. And I'm hoping that we're doing the right thing by creating these ponds, these neighborhood ponds, and getting people to come out and fish, so families especially. So anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll move on down the agenda, but I do want to quickly recognize too the supervisors that rolled out today to help recognize your folks too, so I appreciate that. Matt, Cliff, Shane, Josh, others that came in today, thank you all for being here.
The next item on the agenda is consideration to vote to approve, amend, reject, or take other action on the minutes of the June 28th special commission meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion, so roll call.
Commissioner Brewster.
Aye.
Commissioner Barwick. Commissioner Mabry.
Aye.
Commissioner Dillingham.
Aye.
Commissioner Kane. Commissioner Gaddis.
Aye. All right, director's report. JD?
Thank you. You have in your packet the director's report as well as the federal congressional report from Brittany Preston. Tons of stuff going on at the federal level right now, not a lot of it dealing with wildlife though. The Recovering America's Wildlife Act is continuing to move and get traction. I think it's up well over 100 co-sponsors at this point. There's a Senate introduced version. The Senate version has an offset or a pay for, which is important a lot of times to get Republican support for anything that has a price tag on it. So Congressman Cole was one of the early co-sponsors. We've got a couple of others in our congressional delegation thinking about it. We continue to work on various recovery stimulus packages that are being discussed on the Hill to see if we can get any infrastructure financing, if you will, for fish and wildlife related projects, and we continue to be unsuccessful so far, but we'll continue that work to see if we can get there. They're starting to have some positive conversations about parks state parks, national parks related infrastructure being eligible for this tax or this financial relief coming out of Washington, and so we may be getting a step closer to being able to get some fish and wildlife infrastructure projects funded. That would be great, because we have a long list of things to do. So, couple other things we're watching at the federal level. The new administration is opening back up several rules that were passed during the Trump administration and considering them for modification or rollback. So we'll see, there's several of those dealing with Endangered Species Act issues, Clean Water Act issues that we'll be interested in keeping our eye on, and that sort of thing. And then lastly, you probably heard, but the Fish and Wildlife Service has proposed to list the lesser prairie chicken as threatened for the Oklahoma portion of the population, endangered for the population kind of in that Permian Basin area of West Texas, East New Mexico. We were today was supposed to be the deadline for the 30-day comment from everybody, and they extended it another 30 days. So we'll be, of course, reviewing that very closely, have reviewed it. They were kind of late to give us the extension deadline, so Bill and Russ's staff had a comment letter in the can ready to go if we needed to turn it in today, but having another 30 days will be helpful so we can coordinate with our stakeholders in the state. And the gist of it for us is going to be that we've been doing good work on the landscape for the lesser prairie chicken for a lot of years, even predating WAFWA's range-wide plan that was launched 6 or 7 years ago. It is the states that typically do the best species recovery work when they're in the lead, and it's when we're dealing with a species who over 95% of its habitat sits on private land. We have the relationships with landowners, typically not the federal government. So you can expect something along those lines to come out, but stay tuned. There'll be more to come on that front. On the state front, Corey would be happy to come up and give us an overview, but there's not a lot going on at the state legislative front other than what you see in your notes. I'll point out the calendar. We successfully completed our summer WAFWA meeting, which was held virtually, and I know that Chairwoman Gaddis and Commissioner Barwick were able to attend at least some of those, especially the commission committee meeting portions of that. So I was happy to rotate off as president of WAFWA, so now we can focus a lot more time on hosting the summer meeting next summer on WAFWA's 100th anniversary. Just so happens it's Oklahoma's turn, so that one's going to be a big shindig, and there's going to be a lot of work that goes into it on a lot of people's parts. So many of you know we had our leadership summit a couple of days last week, and that was very productive, worthwhile, a couple of days for the leadership team to get away and kind of focus on each other and the big issues within the agency and not be distracted by the constant bombardment of emails and phone calls and people dropping in. So more to come on that. A lot of us, or many of us, participated in our first ever deer conference that we did in partnership with National Wild Turkey Federation Saturday at the Reed Center in Midwest City. There were over 100 people in attendance. It was really targeting new hunters, people that hadn't hunted before, or new hunters that come in, do workshops on everything from camo to patterning to field dressing. We even had somebody had a tarp laid out and showed how to process a deer with a deer quarter right there. I'm not sure what the hotel thought of it, but it happened. It was good. So it was a good conference. Thanks to Colin and Casey and a number of others that did a lot of hard work on putting that together.
JD, how many participants do you think?
It was over 100. I didn't hear a final number, 110, 115, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. They were hoping for 300. That was kind of their target. But looking around the room and the engagement and participation, I think 300 would have been too many. It was a lot 100 was about right for that thing. So, so I think it went off really well. Don't forget, this weekend is the Selman Bat Cave Bat Watch. It's the, I think that's right, the ODWC Family Nights this weekend coming up. So I'm sure Melinda has a few more spots if there's anybody that's interested in breaking away to do that, to go see it. It's a pretty amazing deal. And don't forget, we're ramping up hot and heavy the last weekend in September for Wildlife Expo at Lazy E Arena. So always a huge feat to watch the 350 employees of the Department of Wildlife come together and descend on Lazy E and turn it into a fun, outdoors-oriented weekend for everybody. Legislatively, there's a couple of interim studies. None have been scheduled yet. One looking at fencing, fence systems and standards in Oklahoma. Of course, that's been an issue that's been rattling around a little bit here for a couple of years. We'll see if that gets scheduled and what may come of that. Senator Murdoch does have a study that we actually requested to maybe dive into the details of what a license consolidation and streamlining might look like for us. So we expect that will probably, I think it could be scheduled anytime between now and probably November. So stay tuned for that. We do want to probably get together with, I don't know if it'll be the Rules Committee or what. We'll talk to you about how you want to do it, but take a look at those license proposals and as well as engage our staff in some additional conversations about that before we trot it out for legislative consideration. You'll see there also reports of legislators being engaged in everything from fishing within their districts so they can hopefully get a better appreciation for the department resources and infrastructure that we have in their district, as well as a number of legislators participating in goose banding, as well as some commissioners, I think. Commissioner Brewster may have participated in one of those goose banding events as well. So always a good time for us to expose legislators, VIPs, to all the awesome work that our employees do on a daily basis and maybe get an appreciation for why it's important as well. Bow fishing survey is underway, will be completed soon, and we'll take a look at the results of that just to kind of look at the popularity and other aspects of bow fishing in the state of Oklahoma. We also have hired a focus group facilitator to conduct women-centric focus groups to get a better understanding of how we can serve our sports women better in terms of their needs, etc. I'll let you see there, number of things happening in admin division. Lots and lots of things being processed. I'll point out, especially praiseworthy for our employees. We got 50 new computers coming in and another like 170 plus in the pipeline. So we'll have almost a complete turnover of computers within the agency here very soon, including some new rugged books. I think it's what we ended up with for the game wardens to be able to use out in the field, and hopefully have better accessibility on the Office 365. Lots and lots going on. Continued license sales up. Fish stocking continues. You'll notice that we have had a new world record paddlefish. If you probably already saw it at this point, 164-pound paddlefish snagged on Keystone Lake that was weighed and certified. We also had a new state record hybrid sunfish, 2 pounds, 5.68 ounces, and a river carp sucker, 9 pounds, 7 ounces were certified. So people getting out and fishing in record numbers and catching some record-breaking fish while they're at it. So lots of good stuff there. C&E division, the Outdoor Oklahoma Adventure Raffle wraps up Friday, I think, right? And let me get the latest number. So I think as of this morning, we're sitting at $194,000 and change that's been raised through our first year of launching the Outdoor Oklahoma Adventure Raffles. Of course, the cow elk continues to be the leading purchase, along with right behind that is the chance at a lifetime combination license. So we'll look forward to wrapping that up Friday, and then emails will be going out to the winners probably in the next week or two after that. With our new electronic system, we're able to notify folks a lot quicker than before. So, on the Fostering Outdoor Oklahoma Families front, Skylar, who's our fishing R3 coordinator, was able to certify 54 DHS employees that went through our aquatic education training. He's working on delivering 2 fishing kits to each of their 10 regions, DHS regions. So it's really kind of like all of our education programs, train the trainer model. If it was just up to Skylar, the R3 fishing coordinator, we couldn't reach nearly as many people, and especially in this case, the foster kids, and get them out fishing. So on that same front, he recently trained 58 OG&E employees and is working on getting another training set up because there's a bunch of other OG&E employees. So Rick Grunman at the foundation was actually instrumental, and I'm probably stealing some of your thunder in your update, but instrumental in helping us make that connection with OG&E, again, training the trainer, and then they're going to help and even have hosted and will host at some of their lake properties around the state, fishing clinics and that sort of thing. So good stuff going on there. If you haven't noticed, I would encourage you to tune in. Recently, as Outdoor Oklahoma TV program launches its 46th year. The show has a new format. It's got more but shorter segments involved, so if you haven't checked that out, it's not just on Sunday mornings anymore, it's on YouTube as well, so you might take a look and tell us what you think. Wildlife Division, just thinking about things that commissioners have asked us about in the past. Wildlife Division worked with Fisheries Division to set up a new prefab restroom at Atoka Wildlife Management Area at Blue Stem Lake. So you see a picture of that installation process there. They also put in a large primitive campground at Arbuckle Springs Wildlife Management Area, and 13 new steel picnic tables were installed and scattered around at Caw Wildlife Management Area. The dove call count surveys were completed. Overall dove numbers were down, but of course some of that could have been the fact that there's plenty of water on the landscape right now, so they're not concentrated as necessarily in a particular area. Again, the goose banding, huge success. Banded about 1,000 geese over 6 days in 8 locations, 40 different people assisted, all good. People, because they're burning up my phone already, are eager to hear what the quail crop's going to look like. Again, the August roadside quail counts will just be getting started and underway, so we'll know more maybe at the next meeting than we know at this point in time, other than a lot of anecdotal reports of people seeing tons of chicks on the ground to people seeing nothing. So maybe it's going to be spotty as usual. That's our word, right? Spotty. Law enforcement, body cameras have been purchased and rolled out. Been going strong since the 1st of July. No real problems, at least that I've heard of. So I think the rollout went smoothly. In fact, I've already been able to take a look at several different instances of footage that came in to prove points of things that kind of underscore things that maybe I couldn't be out on the ground to see, but having that body cam footage, overcrowded public access areas, that kind of thing. So it's been handy from my standpoint. The law trucks have been received for the year and are rolling out, and 2 new Sea Arc boats have been issued to the field, one going to Keystone and one going to Broken Bow. So with that, I might see if Rick has any update for us from the foundation side of things. I know people have some things in their packet for upcoming events.
Yeah, thank you, JD. Again, Rick Grunman, I'm the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Foundation. If Rhonda was nice enough to put packets up at all your tables, your chairs about an event we have coming up honoring John Grondike. It's our inaugural Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Hall of Fame event, and it will be October 29th at the Omni Hotel, Friday night. Thanks to many of you who've already agreed to sponsor, and if any other of you have interest in it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you have anybody that you'd like to invite to the event, you have those hard copies, and we'd be happy to send you an electronic version if you'd rather send an email to somebody, if that's something you'd like to do on a one-on-one. But thank you all for your support and participation. Going back to the OG&E, we've already had the one successful event that JD spoke about. August 13th, Skylar and I will be going out on a site visit at Sooner Lake, the power plant at Sooner Lake for OG&E, looking for the next family fishing event that will be held out there. It's been a great collaboration with OG&E and the department and the foundation, looking for opportunities to open up these cooling ponds on generation facilities that haven't been open to the public in years. The first event had a gentleman show up an hour and a half before the gates were supposed to open and comes over. He looked like a little kid at Christmas going, "I've been waiting for 50-something years to get in here. Can I start?" It's great to see somebody 60 or 70-year-old being excited about going fishing, but also nothing better than seeing these little kids catching the first fish. Hopefully Sooner will be another example of that. We'll decide what the date of the event is on the 13th, so we'll provide more information if there's interest on that. Also, JD brought up the Hall of Fame not the Hall of Fame event, the Wildlife Expo. On Friday, September 24th, on the afternoon, the foundation is renting out the cantina at the Wildlife Expo, and if any of the commissioners or your guests, if you'd like to come out, I'd like to invite you to be guests of the foundation. We'll have VIP tours set up. There'll be beverages and some light snacks and things like that on the afternoon of September 24th, if that works with your schedule. And we'll send out more information as that gets, the contract gets finalized with the Lazy E. If there are no questions, if anybody has any questions, happy to answer them. If not, I will let you get back to the focus of the meeting.
Thank you, Rick. Any questions or comments for Rick?
Or me, for that matter.
Or JD? And by the way, I'd like to thank you, JD, for your service as chairman of WAFLA, which is a big job, and you made us proud.
Thank
Very
you.
proud. Great job.
Thanks.
So we have, I think we've
We're
got
gonna go
another
backwards.
recognition award.
Thank you for allowing us to go backwards in the agenda to recognize one more employee for his 20 years of service, and that's Tony Crawford, a wildlife technician in the Northeast region. I'm just glad to see that you're safe and you weren't in any kind of accident or anything on your way here. Tony's continued his tenure as technician at Spavinaw and Oologah Wildlife Management Areas. He's been an incredible and invaluable asset there. He's completed our leadership development program within the agency, continues to maintain and increase his knowledge of wildlife management at every opportunity. He's saved the department thousands of dollars with his mechanical, welding, and other skills. And he's definitely a people person and enjoys interacting with constituents. Not that everybody doesn't, but Tony's particularly good at it, and we appreciate your 20 years of service to the department, Tony. Good. All right. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. All right, next item is Amanda Stork in the presentation of the financial statement.
Good morning, Chairwoman Gaddis and Commissioners. Today I have for you the financial statement for month ending June 30th, 2021. So our first report in your packet will be the combined balance sheet of all fund types and account groups. For June 30th, 2021, our liabilities and fund balance is $496,692,900. $741,855. Our total liabilities are $20,662,474, for total liabilities and fund balance of $496,741,855. That's compared to last year of $429,098,001. The next report in your packet will be the combined balance sheet for the trust funds. Our expendable trust fund balance is $42,270,605. Our non-expendable trust fund balance is $96,339,783. Our pension trust fund balance is $141,740,478. Our DC trust fund balance is $5,793,272, for a total of $286,144,138, compared to last year of $235,137,345. The next report in your packet is the All Government Fund Types and Expendable Trust Fund. For June 30th, 2021, for the month, our revenues were $54,038,742. Our excess of revenues is $1,910,789, for our total fund balance for the month of $65,499,816. For the month, for our trust funds, our total operating revenues is $37,444,336. Our operating income is $28,747,969, for a total of the month of month ending June 30th, $243,873,533, compared to last year's $215,125,565. And then you have the wildlife contributions report for June 2021 for a total of $7,119.33. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion for Amanda? Do we have a motion to approve as read? Or,
So moved. Second.
thank you, Amanda, appreciate it.
I have a license update if you'd like it.
They need to vote on that first.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, wait.
Commissioner Brewster,
Aye.
Commissioner Barwick,
Aye.
Commissioner Mabry,
Aye.
Commissioner Dillingham,
Aye.
Commissioner Kane, Commissioner Gaddis.
Aye.
So overall, we're still continuing to see a decline in license sales over last year, but we still have, our sales are up for over 2019 and 2018. So there's definitely positives there. Almost 49,000 licenses sold in the month for resident fishing. That's down 44% for the month and down 25% year to date. Our resident fishing is down 3% for the month. Resident combo down just a little over 1%. Non-resident fishing is up 2%. Non-resident hunting even for the month. And Lake Texoma down 11% for the month. Lifetimes are down 28% for the month, but year-to-date numbers remain up for the popular licenses, like lifetime combos are up 15%, lifetime fishing 22%, and that's really blurry. Hunting season should lead to more positive trend, but Mike will continue to monitor it.
Thank you for that update. Oh, yes, that's right, yeah. So item 10 on the agenda is going to be tabled until we have more information, I think. Number 11, we're, Andy Gresham, well, say Barry Bolton has a presentation.
Morning. Agenda item 11 gives me the great pleasure of recognizing Dr. Andy Gresham for his generous donation of a 16-foot War Eagle boat and a 40 horsepower Yamaha outboard. I'd never met Andy and, left a message, which was forwarded to me, and, I returned a phone call to him and, scheduled a trip to Edmond to, take a look at the boat, you know, expecting kind of a beat-up old duck boat because the description, you know, that we had, I didn't really know what to expect. And he opened up the storage bin, found a pristine boat and motor with all the stickers and everything up to date, all the inspections. I mean, you could tell that, this guy, knew how to take care of a boat. Anyway, I told Andy that we absolutely would be interested in, the boat, and that we could find a place for it, just, you know, figure out exactly where we wanted to send it. And, that I'd make an appointment with him to pick it up the next week. Here's the funny part of the story. I called Andy on the morning we were scheduled to pick it up, and I told him that I couldn't get the receiver hitch out of my old truck. It was rusted in there, and I said I'd be up there, but I was gonna be a little bit late because I had to go by the parts store and get a receiver hitch. And, he said, "No, just come on." He said, "I got a brand new one I'll give you." So at that point, I was kind of wishing I'd have told him I didn't have a pickup truck. He probably would have given me his truck too. Anyway, I got an award I'd like, and Andy, if you'd come up now, and, I'd like for you to meet this guy. He's a retired doctor from Arkansas and moved this way, so we could be a little closer to family. But Andy, before you get to say anything, I've got a couple of things for you. One, I've got your receiver hitch that you gave me. I felt a little bad about that. And, we've also, I don't think, none of you guys have seen these. Brand new, and make sure that's the right one. I'll, set it right there, and then we'll let you guys see it. But Bill Newman, who is, one of our, retired fisheries technicians, is a taxidermist and an artist, and, we, had Bill. It's an alligator gar, and, with a marble base. And, Andy, we would just like to thank you for a generous donation. Wade, would you tell us where the boat's going? Wade Farrar worked with us on finding the best home for it. So anyway, Andy, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. If you'd like to say something, we'd be tickled.
Thank you. Thank you so
Andy.
much.
Wade Farrar, get up here with us.
Hey, Barry, I have a question. Does Andy have a replacement boat? I hope that's not it. You're gonna continue.
Oh, I don't have one. He's spending time with grandkids and family.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve acceptance of the donation.
Actually, we didn't have that as an action item on the agenda.
It was.
Do it anyway? Okay, just making sure.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Brewster?
Aye.
Commissioner Barwick?
Aye.
Commissioner Mabry?
Aye.
Commissioner Dillingham?
Aye.
Commissioner Kane? Commissioner Gaddis?
Aye. All right. Bill Dinkins and Barry Bolton have another
Yeah, I think we'll start with Bill.
major presentation.
Thank you. Commissioners, good morning. I'm sure glad Tony showed up because I unfortunately have to report that our technician of the year called this morning is not going to be here. So I was getting ready to take it kind of personal if Tony wasn't coming either, but I'm glad Tony showed up finally. But our biologist of the year is here, so we will proceed. But real quick, the process, we've been recognizing our biologist of the year since 1988. The procedure is it's an open nomination. Anybody can nominate somebody, and this year we had 3 candidates, and we circulated those nominations to our regional supervisors, and then Russ Horton and I ranked them. And so I'm proud to let you know that Thad Potts, you can come on up, Thad. not only receiving a 10-year award, but is also going to be recognized as our Biologist of the Year. So as you can imagine, we get 2 or 3 page nomination, but I'm going to hit 5 or 6 bullet points real quick. Some of them Director Strong already talked about this morning on his 10-year award, but kind of set the stage for you. You know, Thad is the biologist over Canton, Drummond Flat, Major County, Dewey County, and the new Sandhills Wildlife Management Areas, which happen to be scattered over 6 counties and a little around 26,000 acres total. So looking at his highlights, obviously we're going to have to start with the brand new Sandhills Wildlife Management Area. So with no additional staff, Thad took on willfully and coordinated, assisted with signage, repairs of roads, fences, getting new parking areas ready. Also prepared for a grand opening and a tour, which Director Strong, Mr. Grondike, Commissioner Dillingham, Wade Free, and myself, several other staff and legislators attended. So that was a big hit. Also prepared emergency rules and conducted a prescribed burn, all within 2 months of being assigned this new area, while continuing the management on his other wildlife, or his other WMAs. Since then, Thad has also set up a new grazing lease and installed solar pumps, tanks, and completed other related infrastructure to initiate a grazing program on this new WMA. A few other highlights real quick: several meetings with NRCS, Ducks Unlimited, and Vance Air Force Base personnel to continue work on the Drummond Flat Restoration Project. As part of that project, Thad established and served as a principal investigator for a monthly bird survey to inventory bird species and establish a baseline index of seasonal abundance. He now has obtained over a year's worth of data on bird species and abundance, which was required, I believe, by the Air Force staff before we could even consider moving forward. So it was a huge undertaking, and Thad took that on and did a great job getting it set up. Thad serves as hunt coordinator for our controlled hunts, as well as the 2 Salt Plains State Parks hunts and 16 Salt Plains National Wildlife Refuge hunts. Conducted numerous wildlife management area hunter use surveys across all his areas, as well as dove, waterfowl, deer, turkey, quail, and pheasant surveys. Monitored and inspected his ongoing ag and grazing leases on several WMAs, which not only benefits wildlife and their habitats, but obviously also generates revenue for the department. So Thad has also started many other major habitat improvement projects, from aerial herbicide to cedar cutting, as well as one of our strategic plan issues, major road improvements. So as you can see, lots of great work going on. And with that, it's my honor and pleasure to recognize Thad Potts as the 2020 Wildlife Biologist of the Year. Thank you. No.
Thank you, Thad. You're just, congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. Turn it over to Barry.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, so our Fisheries Professional of the Year, just a little bit of background on how we do the award. Nomination can be made by any of the division staff members. Any person on our staff can be nominated. It's not necessarily a technician or biologist, but it can be any level in our fisheries division. 1 nomination, only 1 award is given annually, and nominations are reviewed by the awards committee, which is interesting because it's composed of the past 6 winners. So it's all the employees that vote on this. And I want to shout out to Ken Cunningham, because Ken's the one that drives the bus on this thing and kind of herds all the cats in the process. So he deserves a big hand in this. Each committee member obviously gets 1 vote. And talk a little bit about our winner for this year. For the past 7 years, our Professional of the Year has overseen renovations at the Durant Hatchery, and some total of over $7 million that And I guess that this is as good a point as any to thank this group for continuing to fund those renovations, because largest freshwater hatchery, we believe, in the U.S., and you all have helped to make some of this possible. These efforts have resulted in improved water reliability, deliverability, and functionality. And I can tell you this about our winter. I've watched him. I've been to a lot of those meetings with the construction company, with the engineers, and this guy comes from a construction background, his family, and just really skilled, and it's a darn good fit, I'll tell you that. So positive working relationships developed between Shane and the contractors, and just let the cat out of the bag. I said your name there, Shane. Anyway, Shane's fingerprints are on this. It's a legacy project, and I mean, he really has been instrumental in making this whole thing happen. Very deserving. I'd like to recognize Shane Lewis, our Assistant Hatchery Manager, for his efforts and his Fisheries Professional of the Year award. Before I give this to you, I need to show one of these because I didn't show you when one hit. But Bill Newman, I mentioned him earlier, just a heck of an artist. It's an alligator gar, and this is what we're going to use for our awards.
That is so neat.
It's a resin, and that's marble base. But Bill made the mold for it and cast these things, and then she does heck of both. Alligator gar is one of the work we got.
I just love that. That is so neat.
Anyway, congratulations, sir. Thanks, sir. And he told us last time he was here that he hates to speak in public, and then he knocked it out of the park talking about the hatchery renovation, so he really is pretty skilled at it. So.
Thank you. You got it. I don't have anything to say, just thank you, and I enjoy my job and hope to continue another 15, 20 years at least, be in David's spot. I don't know if I'll be brewing beer when I'm done, but I'll have a good time.
Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you. That's cool. I love those awards. Right. So item number 13, is there any new business to be discussed? All right, and looks like our next commission meeting will be Tuesday, September 7th, here in Oklahoma City, unless something changes. We'll let you know.
Amanda, the Finance Committee's meeting, Eagle Nest, right after this.
All right, everybody got that? All right, we will be adjourned.
All right.
I need to learn to hit
My
that.
kind of meeting. I like those meetings. All awards. Hey all you outdoor Oklahoma lovers, I'm JD Strong, Director of Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, and on behalf of our 350 employees, we want to say thank you. In this unprecedented time, there's no question that there's been a lot that has confronted us as a society and as Oklahomans, but in the midst of those dark clouds, there's been a silver lining. People have been getting outdoors in droves, and because of that, we are able to see increased license sales, increased support for all things wildlife and fisheries conservation, and we're able to continue to host events like this state FFA shooting competition that we have going on behind us today. So without that support, without those license sales, we would not be able to put on stuff like this. If you didn't know it, we're a non-appropriated agency, so we get no help from the state legislature or taxpayers. So we depend heavily on those license sales as well as the sale of sporting equipment, guns, ammunition, fishing poles, bows and arrows, you name it. All of those purchases go towards us being able to get the next generation engaged in hunting and shooting sports, as well as other outdoor adventures, fishing, that sort of thing. So on behalf of the Department of Wildlife, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for bringing us this silver lining in the midst of all these dark clouds that we faced as a result of COVID. Get out there and continue to support wildlife conservation through the purchase of your hunting and fishing license. And don't forget, our outdoors are always open.